What's good, YouTube? Oh yeah, say less. All right, what's good? It's ACT Biladi. We're gonna talk about generational differences. Romeo, go away, bro. We're gonna talk about generational differences and information. Go. All right. Yeah, we're gonna talk about generations today, and just the fundamentals of like the differences, and just in terms of just, it's just a, what's the word? It's a lot of tension between, you know, my generation, last generation, next generation, you know, so on and so forth. So I just want to break this shit down. And I bust down that Immaculate Eats right now. I just made it solid, shit good as a bitch. Word to bro. But, alright. We're gonna talk about information, man. How you can buy? Okay. We're gonna talk about information. Look at Romeo on the cut. Alright. Now imagine you get born or whatever, right? And you grow up with, like, you got your parents or your guardian or whatever, and they just don't teach you how to count. Like, they don't teach you, like, math, right? But they know math, but they don't teach you math. And you grow up not knowing math. And then you go just in life and you just like, oh shit, everything costs money, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know what the fuck to do. What the fuck is a number? What the fuck is a 1, a 2, 3? And on that end of the spectrum, they basically failed you, right? Because, you know, you don't know the fundamentals of what is out there, basically, or what it takes to interact on everyday society, basically, if you know, use the money, whatever the case may be. Or say, you know, they don't teach you the alphabet, right? Or whatever language you speak. They don't teach you your language, and they know the language, but you don't know the language. Like my dad, he knows Spanish, but I don't know Spanish. On some shit. Like, see, I think they must be like, it must be some Puerto Rican shit. You know, they coveted in it for me. But, you feel me? My dad, he wasn't always in my life. But he got to a point where he was, to where it's like, you know, even as late as you did come in my life, niggas could have taught me on some shit. This fucking wasp is sitting on my leg right now, bro. Like, what the fuck? I ain't gonna bother it though. And this tomorrow. Shit. Nah, that shit got a little too close. It was on my arm. I thought it was about to sting me, but alright, right? So I don't know Spanish. So in the 585, basically, right? The east side, they basically mainly speak Spanish on some shit. So I can't really interact with that part of my DNA the same way, because I don't speak Spanish. We go into the store sometimes, they start speaking Spanish. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you saying. Well, I know a little bit, but I can't speak the shit. Whatever the case may be. So, you feel me? That's just a little brain teaser for y'all. So before I get into what I'm talking about, because I talked to some family members, and they was basically telling me, you know, we fuck with your videos or whatever. And now I just want to get like deeper into it, right? In terms of just information and why it's important to pass down information from generation to generation, which we already doing subconsciously anyway. But you feel me? Like this IRA, all right? Now I got this because I know who I am. Like, I know I'm God. I know about the real sun. I know, you know, we started as melanated beings, and so on and so forth, right? Now, this is kind of gonna be a little bit more adept in terms of just knowing stuff, right? Say you studying like history or whatever, right? You studying ancient Egypt, And you as a parent, basically, you know, you learn or whatever, and you just don't believe it, basically. Or, like, oh yeah, you learn about ancient Kemet. You learn about just mad different shit, basically. And then you have a kid, and you don't teach them that. Like, that's kind of fucked up. And I know a lot of people probably just don't even get where this is going because they're not really into that. I'm just trying to use a personal analogy for the ones who do know. But yeah, they don't teach you about that. Like, I have family members who knew about, like, Dr. York or Noble Drew Ali, you know, great leaders, Elijah Muhammad, but because they didn't know, I mean, because it didn't connect to them, they didn't decide to pass on the information regardless. So it's like, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Like, y'all heard of that saying before? It's basically that, except on a detrimental level, because whether you like it or not, this is your history. Whether you choose to believe it or not, this is your history, which is why I'm coming here with a tattoo, 20 years old, Ayah Ra tattoo, because all the looks I've been getting recently since I got this tattoo is confusion. But at the deepest level, it's subconsciously knowing, because whether they're confused or not, I know we're all one consciousness. That's what God is. God is really one consciousness. So it's like, regardless of the fact that they may look confused or not know what it is, subconsciously they know what it is. And I could tell by looking into their eyes. Eyes, the window to the soul. So I've just been getting really weird looks, but I've also been getting looks or questions to where it's like, all right, people actually understand it. Like, certain people actually understand it on a daily, you feel me? So that's why I'm saying, you know, this is for the ones who know, and etc. Certain people actually understand it and get where it's going. So they'll look at me and I can feel, like, you know, they may have, you know, studied or whatever, but because of my age, because of how I'm carrying myself, and the fact that this is actually marked onto my skin, it's like, oh yeah, shit's getting serious now. Because, you know, our generation, like, say, like 1980s onward, 1970s, whatever, they know about it, but, you know, some people haven't really gone as hard. You know, some people did, you know, they made this transition, the shift that they needed to do, while the others turned a blind eye, or, you know, they just learned it and didn't apply it, in terms of, like, they know it, but it's like, I don't see the significance. So, you know, I'm gonna have a kid and not teach them that. See, the thing about our people is, the beautiful thing, yeah, my fault, my phone is about to die. But the beautiful thing about it is, you know, we've already been in America, and we've already been in Africa. We've already been slaves. We've already worked a 9 to 5. We've already worked for nothing. Like, we've already did all of these things, to where it's like, that subconscious I was telling y'all about is basically just getting tired of this shit. It's like, all right, boom, we already worked it. So that DNA is getting passed on generational, to where it's like, in my DNA was slaves, in my DNA was kings, in my DNA was queens, in my DNA, you know, we've worked on plantations, in my DNA we've been getting killed. All of that shit has been adding up, to where as we regain this information, you start to see it get applied more, which is why it's like, it's detrimental to not pass on this information as a parent or as someone who knows, because it's to the point to where it's like, regardless of whether you want to admit it or not, the truth is coming out there, and we're making the transition to where we've been before, basically. So when I'm carrying myself this way, it's just a signal. That's what I really wanted it to be, because you don't really got too many people in my city carrying themselves this way, or just trying to do the shit that actually matters, you know. But even then, like, without knowing this information, you could still make a change. Like, you feel me? You could be in politics still making a change. You know, everybody got their role to play, so I'm not calling anybody out or looking at you some type of way because you do this or that, or you work a 9 to 5 and work the rest of your life. Some people are literally built for that. Some people want to do that. That's just what it is. That's what life is. You feel me? Everybody got their own shit they want to do, basically. Some people are lost and they just do whatever comes to them on some shit. You know, whatever they feel like or think can make it out for them. So, I don't really think it's a generational problem, really, because it's more like KRS once said. I heard him say this good saying. He said, if old people don't listen to older people, if older people don't listen to younger people, they'll get slower in the mind. If younger people don't listen to older people, they'll get slower in the mind, I believe he said. It was something along those lines. But it's basically like, you know, you gotta listen to the older people for wisdom, but you gotta listen to the younger people to keep up with the times, you know? Like, older people have more issues, like, you know, handling technology. Like, oh, how you do this? Blah, blah, blah. But younger people growing up that way, it's like, oh yeah, it's like second nature to us, basically. Like, I got a sister, she be editing videos on YouTube and shit. And it's like, damn, like, she's younger than me, of course, but for that to be a thing, it's like, yo, look how much more advanced we're getting in terms of just learning and adapting, you know? It's becoming second nature to us, the same way actual nature itself, you know, we're getting back to that, besides, you know, technology, which isn't really natural. But you see how we're adapting to it, you know? The phone couldn't record, do all of this shit now. Older people have issues with it, but the younger people don't. And after older people don't listen to us and get the help they need, they won't be able to really access this and know what to do with the technology. You know, I was hearing a story, somebody didn't know how to work their Roku remote. You feel me? Like little shit like that, which is besides the point. But I hope you can see how it's applicable to this, you know? And it's like, for us, on the other hand, we may have issues with y'all, because I be looking at some older people to where it's like, some, not all, because I don't really blame everybody if they didn't have the information to get, you know, to certain places, because some people have roles to play. But it's like this ones who, because, you know, everybody has people that get on their nerves in life, you know, or just kind of people, like archetypes of people that get on your nerves, you know. So I'll meet some old people who'll just be on that, this weird shit, like, whole time it's like, you got the audacity to speak on me when I'm the next generation about to make a change. Meanwhile, it's like, your generation had the opportunity to make the change. It still does. You just older than us, but y'all basically gave in because y'all didn't find a way out. But I'm not blaming anybody for that if you didn't have the information to try and make ways out. But, you know, it's gonna take more than one person anyway, but it'll take one person to spark the change. But it's like, you can't do shit without a community and the reality of it, whether it's a small community, large community. But you see, it's like, we could play the blame game all we want, but it's like, all we have is self-accountability. Let's not blame the last generation or the next generation. Let's coexist and, you know, build some shit. Teach me some shit that you know that it'll apply to me in my life, and I could do the same for you, instead of going about the last generation and the new generation. Because it's like, you're not getting anywhere, you know? Y'all did fucked up shit. Y'all let shit pass, and, you know, it's changing for us, whatever the case may be, because it's shit that's going on with my generation, if you want to look at it that way. But I don't really even go into these label things like generation, because it's like, fuck a generation. Like, we just living life. These motherfuckers just my age. I don't agree with their views or some of the shit and agendas they pushing, if you know what I'm saying. That's just what's going on in the world today. You feel me? Fuck a generation. Because if they was 30 years old or 40 years old, it'll be the same shit. I'll just be like, oh yeah, that generation, look what they pushing over there, blah, blah, blah. Blah, say blah. Like, ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. And besides that, it's like, it's not a generation thing. It's just what life is. You feel me? I could be like, yo, it's fucked up that, you know, y'all generation let us lose certain rights, or whatever the case may be. Or like, oh yeah, y'all generation, motherfuckers was going to war. I don't agree with that war shit, blah, blah, blah. Like, shit like that. It's like, whatever. Because motherfuckers is going to war in my generation anyway. But, you know, they had different wars back then, or whatever the case may be. But y'all see, like, y'all got to stop with this generational talk, because it's like, you're not getting anywhere with it. But the most important thing is just to find that balancement of, you know, adapting. Because it's people older than me who, like that Nas song, they in their second childhood. Like, it's like motherfuckers be 40 years old doing the same shit. So where it's like, damn, I'm 20 years old feeling 40 in terms of like, I don't want to be repeating shit, you know? Like, I don't want to be, I done felt like I done worked the 9 to 5 to where I'm like, I'm not about to be a slave. Or, you know, if you don't look at it that way, then so be it. And some people, certain jobs I would say isn't really, because you could get some shit or even make your own job in terms of like, if you got an idea, you could just, you know, advance that idea and just become self-sufficient if you get people to back it up. You know, that's where the community part comes in. So the most important thing is balancement. Fuck the old generation. Fuck the new generation. Fuck these labels. Focus on you. Focus. You see all this grass behind me? Focus on that. In terms of having a connection to something natural. Don't be on this damn phone all day. You feel me? Don't be just caught up in all this other shit that don't matter. Like social media. Like, come on, bro. Whether you old or young, because like we could talk all the generational shit, but it's like I be doing the same things, like second childhood type shit. Like older people be doing shit to me that be dumb sometimes, and it's like, how y'all don't see that when you older than me and you think you smarter than me because you older than me? Meanwhile, I got a perspective at my age to where I see right through it on some shit. You feel me? I'm not trying to boast or nothing, or, you know, say I'm special or none of this shit, but because you could be older and still be wiser and still be smarter and whatever. But, you know, everybody got different perspectives. So it's like, even somebody younger than me could tell me some shit that could be smarter than some shit I'm saying. Or they could peep some shit that's like, oh yeah, that's dumb. Low-key, you could do it this way, blah, blah. You feel me? And you could tell, like, when, you know, a person's a year or two older, 3 years older than you, 1 year younger than you type shit. You feel me? So, and then you get broader in terms of the generation thing that everybody's talking about, and you could just see that in different scales. So it's like, it's not the generation. It's really like, to be honest, this is why I don't argue on the internet either. Motherfuckers on the internet is mentally undiagnosed. Like, motherfuckers got mental illnesses undiagnosed on the internet. So why the fuck am I arguing on the internet? There's no point in arguing on the internet or damn near in real life, because you don't know who the fuck got a mental illness these days. And the posts I be seeing online, it'd be like, yo, motherfuckers is mentally ill. I'm not arguing with nobody about shit. So it's like social media, I could keep away from that. I could keep away from my phone in terms of all that shit, because it's like, you don't really need it. And, you know, you could post here from there, but that shit isn't really important. And I don't want to just be letting other people's problems become mine in terms of just seeing shit that they post. Like, why the fuck do I care about your baby dad? You can't see your kids. Like, I don't know you, or even if you do, it's like, bro, nobody wants to keep getting that shit pushed on them, because that's gonna weigh you down and it's gonna have you fucked up mentally, health-wise, just as them. I know I'm going on a tangent and getting a little bit off topic, but it kind of relates. So yeah, this is a shorter one, and that's pretty much all I have to say. Just find that balancement, find you. You know, don't judge the next generation, don't judge the last generation, because regardless, we in this shit together. You know, your parents could have had a rough life and you was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna bring a kid that lived this rough life with me, and now you living this shit. So it's like, we really staying in this shit together. So it is what it is. Peace and love.